When I was 3 years old, one of my earliest memories, my family moved from Chapel Hill to the mountains of North Carolina, where my father had his first job as a history professor. He went on up in a U-Haul to set up our apartment, and my mom was left with 3 children. Me, 3 years old, my brother, 2, and a baby in arms. She loaded us up and started driving west. We stopped halfway at my grandmother's house, and Nanny said, "I have a friend with puppies in the barn, and it's time for them to leave their mother." And my mother, en route to a new life, decided that this was the perfect time to adopt a puppy. So we went and picked out this little short-haired brown dog with brown eyes and floppy ears. I thought she was terrific. I named her Scamper because of the way she skittered across the tiles in our new apartment. And Scamper took care of us for 17 years, my entire childhood. The last time I saw Scamper, I was off to college, and her muzzle had gone gray, her eyes were cloudy, and she couldn't scamper anymore. Back to second grade. In second grade, my teacher, Mrs. James, she was nice and pretty, and she was from Iowa. I had no idea I'd ever meet anybody from Iowa, but Miss James was the real deal. She did a whole unit on dairy cows, and I learned all about the brown Swiss for the first time. She also read aloud a chapter book, E.B. White's classic tale, Charlotte's Web. I love Charlotte's Web. I've probably read it 30 times. Zuckerman's barn is a magical place where a runty piglet can make friends with a spider, where the swallows fly in and out of the barn eaves to their nest, and Fern can barely tear herself away in time for supper. I can see myself in that barn, just listening to the conversations among the various animals. When people ask that question about what would your 3 wishes be, one of mine was always reserved for, I wish I could understand the languages of animals, all animals. And people said as a kid, even as a kid, I had a way with animals. Well, my daddy said that. I had a way with animals. And after it became clear that I did not have a future as a jockey in 4th grade, everybody pretty much figured I'd turn out to be a veterinarian. Well, in addition to always wanting lots of pets, I had always wanted a daughter. And when we heard that a daughter was on the way, I was ready. Can we name her after my favorite grandmother? Clyde? Yes, but she has to have a Chinese middle name. Okay, as long as we can pronounce it in America. How about Da? What does Da mean? It's pronounceable. I like that. To arrive and go beyond. An auspicious name. I was so excited to share everything wonderful with my daughter Clyde. Bingo, our short-haired brown dog with big stand-up ears. The chickens in the backyard. Stories. Once we had established a cozy bedtime routine of reading, you won't be shocked to hear that Charlotte's Web was on my list. Now, I held off till Clyde was about 4 years old. And she followed this story with great interest. She understood the motivations and what's going on with the animals. She really is a story-oriented child. And, you know, it's a great story. It's about small-town life, about the power of language, friendship, and loss. Loss. Well, we got to that part in the story where that terrific and radiant pig, Wilbur, had humbly accepted a special prize at the state fair. And he was thanking Charlotte for all that she had done to save his life. He was excited. Won't it be great to be back in the barn cellar, Charlotte, with the sheep and the geese? Aren't you anxious to get home? Charlotte was uncharacteristically listless. She had just completed her magnum opus, her egg sack. I will not be going back to the barn. Clyde had been listening to this scene unfold. And suddenly she burst into tears. No, don't read anymore, Daddy. Charlotte's gonna die. These were not picturesque tears that rolled gently down your cheeks. They literally burst out of her face. Her body was racked with sobs. Honestly, I was surprised because when she came upon one of my chickens that had been ravaged by a predator, she took that in stride. We'd talked about death before, but here she was, moving into hysteria. And I thought, what am I supposed to do? Slap her across the face? No, I just held her tight. I said, Clyde, you're right. Charlotte is going to die. And it's very sad. It's the last time that Wilbert and Charlotte can be together. Breathe. Just 3 deep breaths. You need to stop crying. Okay, I flipped ahead in the book. I said, okay, it's just a page and a half. And then Wilbur comes up with a plan, and the end is kind of hopeful. It's an important part of the story. Shall we do it? She nodded. We both had tears in our eyes at that point because it's sad to lose a friend like Charlotte. I started to read again, and she said, "Oh, Daddy, my soul is growing." That's some kid. Yes, sweetie. Isn't it amazing how a story can make us care, can grow our souls? Do you think you'll be able to get to sleep? Yes, Daddy. Could you just stay a little while? Of course. Where else would I be? I want to see what happens next.